In this lesson, I am going to talk to you about different subtraction strategies that we can use for our basic facts. The first strategy that we're going to use or to learn is a subtracting zero strategy. And in that strategy, if you take 0 away from any number, like 4 minus 0, you're going to get the difference that is the same number. There's no change because you're taking 0 away, and 0 is nothing. And also, if we have a number take away the same number, like 4 minus 4, it will also equal 0 because you're taking all of that number away. Our next strategy is the counting back strategy. So we have an example problem, which is 6 minus 2. Anytime we're subtracting 1, 2, or 3 is when we will use this strategy. So we have the number 6, so we want to put that number in our head. We don't want to count it when we're counting back. In our class, we have been putting it in our fist. So we put the number 6 in our fist, and then we're going to count back 2 spaces. So our difference is going to be 4. So we would say 6, 5, 4. And again, you use that strategy anytime you're counting back 1, 2, or 3. Our next strategy is counting up, which is the opposite of the counting back. This strategy, though, you're going to use if the numbers are close on the number line to each other. So if you look, there's some examples of problems you might use the counting up strategy. 11 and 9, 11 and 8, 13 and 10, they're very close to each other on the number line. If they're really far apart, this probably wouldn't be the best strategy to use. So what we would do for 16 minus 14, we put 14 in our head, we don't count that, 14, and then we're going to count up to the number that we're starting with. So 14, we start at 14 and we count up 15, 16. So we went up 2 spaces, so we know 16 minus 14 is going to equal 2. You can also look at the strategy as looking for a missing addend, and that is a strategy that we're going to be talking about, which is basically the same thing as counting up. 14 plus what would equal 16, and we think about that when we're looking at our related facts. 14 plus 2 would equal 16. All right, our next strategy is called take from 10. When we do this strategy, it is when we are starting with 10 and we're taking a number away from 10. So what you want to do is you either want to get one of our tens frames or just picture a tens frame in your head or those tens facts that we worked on when we did addition, and you want to think about if you take 2 from 10, how many chips would be left on our 10 frame. So 10 minus 2, we would have 8 left, and you know that 8 plus 2 equals 10. So thinking about those tens facts. Next, our strategy is called doubles takeaway. In this strategy, you want to use your doubles to help you with double subtraction. So anytime you have a number and you're taking a number that you know that you could double to make that number you're starting with, you would use this strategy. For example, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to 12 minus 6. If you have those doubles facts that we worked on down, you would know that 6 plus 6 would equal 12. So therefore, you would know quickly that 12 minus 6 would equal 6 because 6 plus 6 equals 12. Again, looking at those related facts that we've worked on, they are so important in these strategies. All right, next we have our near doubles takeaway. This strategy you would use if the answer is close to the number you are subtracting from the minuend. So if we have a problem like, well, any of these are examples, but if we have a problem like 11 minus 5, we would double our 5, which would be 10, and that is near 11 on the number line. So that is when you would use this strategy. Anytime you can double the subtractand and you are close to the minuend, then you know that you could use this strategy. So again, if we double the 5, which equals 10, we would add 1 more on, so you would get 5 plus 1 more, which would be 6. And this strategy is a little bit tricky. It might be one that you choose to use, it might not. So again, if the minuend is 11 and you're subtracting 6, you know that you can double 6, and that equals 12, and that's close to 11 on the number line. But since 12 is 1 more, you're going to subtract 1. So 6 minus 1 would be 5. All right, so that is the near doubles takeaway. Next we have the subtracting 9. You can hardly see that. It's getting to be bigger pages. The subtracting 9, and these are all examples of problems where you're subtracting 9 that you would use this strategy. So we're going to look first, 13 minus 9. The answer is going to be 1 more than the answer to 13 minus 10. So again, if we had 13 minus 10, we know that answer would be 3. So we know that the answer to 13 minus 9 is going to be 1 more than that, which would be 4, because you're not taking as much from it because 9 is less than 10. So that is how, that's one way you can look at this subtracting 9 strategy. There's 2 other ways you can look, so you would just probably want to pick one of these ways. Again, if you're subtracting 9, this is a little trick. The answer is going to be 1 more than the ones in the minuend. So the number you start with is the minuend, so you have 13 and you're subtracting 9. The answer is going to be 1 more than the ones place in the minuend, which would be 4. So 1 more than 3 is 4. Or if you're subtracting 9 from a number, you can take the sum of the digits of the minuend and you can get the answer that way. 1 plus 3 equals 4. So up here, anytime you're subtracting 9, 17 minus 9, you could say 1 plus 7 equals 8. Right? So that's another way. 3 different ways that you can subtract 9 and have little tricks to do that. And the last one is our subtracting 10 strategy. So I'm going to go up here. These are all of the, all the subtracting 10 problems that we'll work on. When you subtract 10, you think of 10s and 1s, and you're taking away a 10. So if we have 14 minus 10, we're going to look at that 14. Here's a quick picture. And we're taking the 10 away, so what's left is going to be 4. Or you can look at 14 minus 10 using a tens frame. So 14, we have 10 over in this tens frame and 4 over there, and we're taking 10 away, so there's 4 left. So again, subtracting 10, you're just taking a 10 from the minuend. That's a quick and easy way. So if we look, one more thing, if the ones in both the subtract end and minuend are the same, then the answer is 10. So again, if you look, 14 minus 4, if the ones and the subtract end are the same, then you know that the answer is just going to be 10. All right? All right, so what I'd like you to do is you are going to be given this sort. And it looks like this. You're going to cut out each of these pockets that have each of those strategies on it. So we've got subtracting 0, counting back, count up, take from 10, doubles take away, near doubles take away, and subtracting 9, subtracting 10. You're going to cut around there, and you're only going to glue the edges, the side edges, and the bottom, so that you're making a pocket on your piece of paper. So glue each of those pockets because you're going to be putting things down in. So don't glue the top edge, and don't glue in the middle, just the edges right here. Glue those down, and then you have problems that you're going to cut out, and you are going to solve those problems, and you're going to put them in the pocket of the strategy that you use to find the difference. So there's a couple of pages of those. So you'll cut those out and put them in the correct pocket.